Actually, the topic was technology as an enabler for monetizing urban infrastructure. I was hearing this for the first time and I could not find any presentation from where I could copy. So I had to jot down a few thoughts and I thought let me try and speak out extempore from my experience in the New Delhi Municipal Council. So I also happened to read the report which Mr. Chawla sir was just mentioning, the McKinsey report. A copy is lying on the table. It gives a large number of facts and figures and projections, and very impressive ones, but I do not know how correct they are. But if those are to be believed, then our population in the country, in the cities, is going to rise very rapidly from, and it has already started rising rapidly, and is more likely to double in absolute numbers. In percentage terms, perhaps not so. Now, considering that one of the best managed cities in the country, the New Delhi, also faces traffic, sewage, water supply, solid waste problems. So what happens when the demand for all these services starts increasing? The report says that perhaps the demand for water may go up by 2.3%, 2.3 times or 2.7 times. Similarly for sewerage connected directly to water, 2.7 times. It says that cars will increase by 6 times. And because there will be more people in the city and the city size will also increase, the number of trips each individual makes will also increase by about 2.7 times. So in all, the total transportation trips will perhaps rise by 6 into 2.7, about 18 times. So I shudder at the thought of going out in the morning. The report says it will take me 5 hours to reach my office. So if it will take me 5 hours to reach office and 5 hours back, I do not know when I am going to sleep. So apparently all this leads to the need for building infrastructure. And that is how perhaps Ravi Gupta came up with this topic, how to find money for all that and monetize urban infrastructure and use technology to do that. Now, the estimates, the report says that you require about $2.2 trillion, if I remember the figures, about $1.2 trillion for capital expenses over the next 20 years, and about $1 trillion for maintaining that infrastructure. Now, where do we find money to do all this? Obviously, land is the primary source of revenue for any municipality. The other could be, I have noted down some issues. The other could be taxes, and the third is grants from or allocation of money from the central government, state governments. Some I have thought out which could be perhaps looked at with the use of technology, but coming back to land. So I'm going to primarily talk from my experience in the New Delhi Municipal Council. It is perhaps the richest municipal body. When I left, it had more than 2,500 crores of fixed deposit in various banks, all nationalized banks, and later on we also had some due diligence norms and some private sector banks were also included. In New Delhi Municipal Council, perhaps it is ranks second only to Mumbai in terms of property prices. Yet you would be surprised to know that even properties in Connaught Place, Palika Bazaar, and all these places were rented out by the New Delhi Municipal Council, and perhaps still may be at rents as low as 2 rupees per square feet per month, 3 rupees per square feet per month, when the real rentals in this area are more than 300 to 350 or 500 rupees per square feet per month. In Khan Market, I was handling property tax also in NDMC. I know it for a fact that the property prices, the rental price is more than how much? 1,000 rupees per square feet per month. So on the one hand, we have 1,000 rupees per square feet per month. On the other hand, the municipality lets out property at 2 rupees. Why? Simple reason, very simple reason. There are also several Brahmas in all the municipalities who can create municipal records and destroy municipal records. If you cannot find a file, there is no opportunity to revise the rents. So the basic issue is data management. It's a very simple thing to do, but still does not happen. If there is data management for a small municipality like NDMC, then perhaps the revenues from the municipal properties that were let out, about 20 crores or so when I left, could easily be increased to more than 150 crores. Now, this is a small municipality. Compare it with a large municipality, the sister municipality in Delhi, the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, where NDMC is 43 square kilometers, MCD is more than 1400 square kilometers. So the sheer magnitude of the task to collect a simple thing as rent becomes so difficult without the use of technology. We come to DDA. We sell properties. There are periodic newspaper advertisements for auction of municipal or DDA property. It's a very cumbersome process. The same applies for renting out various municipal properties by NDMC and MCD. Technology today makes it possible. We have seen it in 3G auctions and eBay, everywhere. Reverse auctions take place all the time. So why not implement it for municipalities, city governments, make it mandatory that no municipal property will be given out other than through the e-tendering or the reverse procurement route. I'm sure the earnings from these properties will increase manifold. Coming to property tax again. I also belong to the Indian Revenue Service, therefore I have worked in the income tax department also. And there is the collection of property tax, although it's a single line as compared to the Income Tax Act, which is so thick, and we spend almost 1 year to study the nuances of the Income Tax Act. But in municipal law, there is only one line for the rateable value. Rateable value is the value at which a property can be expected to let from year to year. That's it. But still, there are numerous court cases on this one line of definition. And the reasons are, some of them quite obvious. Most of the rich people have own properties and they can fight cases. Therefore, the same one line has several interpretations. Different interpretation in MCD, different interpretation in NDMC for a similar sounding line. Therefore, there is a need to put it into mathematical terms, and that is what is being done by unit area method. I do not think that GIS has to add any benefit to property tax, but yes, putting it into a mathematical formula in terms of unit area definitely has value, because there is no scope for any litigation thereafter. That is your area multiplied by the rate of the property and into tax, that's it. Nothing more than that. The only difficulty will be at the time of fixing what should be the circle rate. But that is okay, one time hardship, and then every 5 years you have to do that. So again, 14 lakh properties, I was surprised to see the figure of 20 lakh which Mr. Rajiv Chawla mentioned about Karnataka, because when I was in NDMC, we used to think that for property taxation made it mandatory or obligatory upon the municipality to issue a bill. So issuing 14 lakh bills every year itself is a challenge. And then to ensure that most of them have been paid and find out which one has not been not paid is again an absolutely impossible task without the help of technology. So I'm trying to link it where technology comes in monetizing whatever assets the urban cities can find for raising resources. But coming out from these traditional methods, I see some new areas. We in New Delhi Municipal Council tried to experiment with multi-level parkings, and I was responsible for these multi-level parking projects. And I believe by March, I think 2 parkings would be ready. Each one would have more than 700 cars, the other would have more than 1200 cars in a very small area. And when we were trying to work out what could be the method of financing them, we calculated the money that we would have to charge. So we came out with a figure of about 30 rupees per hour or 40 rupees per hour of parking rate, at which building like this could be self-sufficient. And we thought that no one would be willing to pay that much money, because parking on the streets was only 10 rupees for the entire day. But now I see that in malls, perhaps similar or even higher rates are applicable. So very soon we see that there is a capacity to pay, but there does not exist a capacity to collect. On streets, 10 rupees for the entire day, and even on a multi-level parking which we are building, we finally decided to enforce only 10 rupees per hour, which is 1/4 of what malls are charging during peak days. Where technology can come in somehow, and there is a big parking mafia involved. They will not let the parking contracts rise beyond a certain level. And it is not necessarily a revenue earning proposition for the municipalities. You also want to regulate traffic and parking. So you don't want more than the desired number of cars to be parked in a parking lot. But you will always find that in Sarojini Nagar, Connaught Place, any other place, the entire street is blocked. So you have what you have left is a very narrow lane, and that's a cost actually, because the traffic has slowed down. So perhaps with technology you can you can somehow enforce the parking lot area, the actual number of cars that are parked, the amount of time they are parked, and perhaps also build in intelligent traffic charges. Peak time, more rate; lean time, less rate, all coupled with technology and transparent accounting system. What else? Yes, another area which I noticed when I was there, we had in Delhi, New Delhi, about 135 MLD of water availability, yet you get water only for 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. 135 will, at much less than that, some of the cities across the world are supplying 24 hours water. Our recoveries from water were less because we are not using technology to manage the entire utility system. It is possible at less than 135 million liters per day per capita of water to supply 24 hours water supply. But it requires considerable improvement or infusion of technology in the entire utility chain. This applies not only to water, it applies to sewerage, it also applies to electricity. It is possible to build in today grid feeding solar systems, and perhaps large buildings of the government at least, or institutional buildings, could deploy solar cells and push back electricity and help in generating electricity. Most of the schools remain vacant throughout the day. Most of the community centers remain vacant throughout the day. They are used only for 2 hours or 2-3 hours at night for marriages. But you do not know where to book them. You do not know how to charge them according to demand. If small simple systems are available through which bookings can be made 24 hours, perhaps you will find much more utilization of the same, more intensive utilization of the same assets. One last thing was in terms of advertising. There are a couple of more ideas on this, but since the time is there, I'll just pick up one of the important ones: advertising. It's a cutthroat competition in the city. I know it for a fact that various advertisers destroy each other's boards. If there is a board like this, they will take a razor and slash it, so that the person who has the board does not get the contract or gets a bad impression with the advertiser. But with technology, imagine you're walking down a road. It's possible to feed directly through the dish or through mobile chips the same advertisement throughout the city. The advertisement revenue is much higher than a proper rental revenue from perhaps even car market. And there is huge advertisement space available for each city. Coupled with technology, it's much more powerful medium than perhaps the TV. So it holds immense potential for earning revenues for the city. I think I'll stop at that. We can have some more discussions during the open hour session. Thank you.